Okay, so in this lesson, this is actually very important. At the very beginning of the chapter, it talks about algebraic expressions, and in the last section, we talked about the different pieces of an algebraic expression, namely the terms, the coefficients, the constants in an expression. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start to take the fact that we know what things are and start to actually write some expressions on our own. So the first thing I want you to do is get out a piece of paper and add this table to some paper notes so that you have it accessible and ready for a quiz, because obviously you won't be able to watch this video in a quiz. So for the first few minutes of class here, what I want you to do is copy this table exactly into your notes and have 3.2 lesson up at the top. Put your operation and then your keyword phrases below. So we have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Okay, so now that we have some words that we know that are associated with certain operations, we want to go ahead and try and write some expressions. Again, there's nothing that we need to solve yet. All it says is to write an expression. If it does want us to solve later on, it will say solve up with the problem. So make sure you just pay attention to the directions. But first of all, what we want to do is we want to write an expression for 8 fewer than 21. So what we have here is taking away 8 from 21. Some students will try to tell me that this is the answer, 8 minus 21. But if we really look and see what this problem says, 8 fewer than 21 is telling us to do this, 21 minus 8. So again, when it says fewer than, we have to flip the order of what we're doing. 8 fewer than 21 would be 21 minus 8, not 8 minus 21. The next one, product, is a pretty simple one. The product of 30 and 9, we don't care what order it is. We can say either 30 times 9 or 9 times 30. Both of those will be 100% correct. So again, make sure you understand these key phrases, and we'll go ahead and move on to the next example. Now that we've seen a couple where we have two different numbers, what we're going to do is actually start dealing with some algebraic expressions. So again, we're going to take those operations that we know and use them in algebraic, meaning there's going to be a variable of some kind in our problem. One thing to draw our attention to before we start writing these, whenever we're dealing with subtraction or division, so looking at this common error right here, order does matter when we're dealing with subtraction and division, so we really have to pay attention to what we're writing down. First of all, a common error, it says when writing expressions involving subtraction or division, order is important. For example, the quotient of a number x and 2 means x divided by 2, not 2 divided by x. And those will give you two very different answers. For example, if you let x equal 2, x equals 6, 6 divided by 2 is 3. But 2 divided by 6 is not 3, that's 1/3. So we have to make sure that we pay attention to the order. Okay, so next step, what we're going to do is go ahead and write some expressions here. For example 2, 14 more than a number x. Again, it's highlighted here in red. The operation more than would give me plus. So I'm going to write 14 plus x and be done. Next, a number y minus 75. Minus is subtraction, so we have to pay attention to the order. But since it says y minus 75, we can just write y minus 75. The quotient of 3 and a number z. So here again is quotient, so division is important, but when it's written to the left of the numbers like that, we can just write 3 divided by z. Another answer that would be completely acceptable would be 3 over z. Both of those answers would be right, but not z over 3 or z divided by 3. Okay, so this is the point in the video, you guys. Like I said, you get to use notes on quizzes and tests, so what you need to do is make sure that this is part of your notes with the table for this lesson. These are good practice problems, and these are things that I'm going to ask you to present to me when you have a question for your homework. Number 1 here, so again, make sure you've paused this and tried these. The sum of 18 and 35 for number 1, we're going to go ahead and say 18 plus 35. Again, you don't need to solve, you just need to write it as an expression. Number 2, 6 times 50. Pretty straightforward. 6 times 50. Or you could write a times symbol. It doesn't matter. 25 less than a number b. This one's tricky because it's subtraction, so we really need to pay attention though. Subtraction, the order matters, but if I want 25 less than b, I need to put the b first, minus 25. Number 4, a number x divided by 4. Well, this one says x divided by 4. We could also put x over 4. Number 5, the total of a number t and 11. When we say total, we are adding, so we're going to say t plus 11. Last one, 100 decreased by a number k. This again is a variable expression. Also, we have 100 decreased by a number k. That's a k there, sorry. But those are your solutions for the 6 problems here. Again, make sure you've tried these, because otherwise it really doesn't do you much good to watch these videos in the first place. When we see a multiple choice problem, you guys, whether it's on a standardized test or in our homework, the very worst thing that we can do is just guess, you guys. These are very simple if we just read what it says. It says the length of Interstate 90 from the west coast to the east coast is 153.5 miles, more than 2 times the length of the Interstate 15 from Southern California to northern Montana. So the north and south interstate is 15. It says let m be the length of the Interstate 15. Which expression can you use to represent the length? If I'm saying it's 2 times the length, I have a couple operations here, but I know for one of the operations it's saying that it's 2 times the length of the other interstate, but it's also saying more than, so I have 2 different operations here. I have multiplication and addition, and the only one that gives us both of those is A. Next one, the real life problems, you guys. The book will set these up just like this for you. First of all, it says to make a table. Again, when it's talking about the years, we're going to start at 0 and go up to 1, 2, 3, 4. What I'll probably do for your homework is just have you go for a couple, just to show me that you can represent it as a table of values. And then it says, what is the height after 9 years? Well, in order to find that, we have to use this function. T is equal to 10 plus 15t, and we would plug in 9 for the value just like they did here in B. So I would say 10 plus 15 times 9 is equal to 145. Now what we'll do after this, you guys can try this one and let me know how you did, or you can go ahead and go into the homework for this lesson and just make sure you've checked over 1 through 6 really, and if you have a story problem in your homework, we'll kind of talk about it together if you have questions. Good luck. Make sure you have good notes.